Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in video land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm Rusty. I am so pumped today. Pumped! Why? Homemade basil and mint with strawberries. So good. Can't even tell you. I've had 2 of them already. It's like dessert in a cup. And there's no calories, so my fluffy butterness should be melting-ist soon. Today's guest is Mary Jackson, and she is dialing in, and we're gonna find out who she is, what she does, and what makes her who she is, and why she does what she does, and all that good fun stuff. Oh, hi Mary.
Hi, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get this. Let me see. Are we on right now?
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm going to, you know what? It's really, for some reason, I can't seem to get Zoom to allow me to use a background. So I've got my green screen up.
So my friend in England, I don't know if you knew I was on a talk show or a game show in England.
No.
And it was so much fun, so much fun. Anyway, his secret to getting the background screen, which I just gave up, it's aggravating, is it can't be wrinkled and it has to be taut.
Yeah, okay, right.
It doesn't work.
Well, the weird thing is usually on Zoom, I can use like a soft filter, but for some reason, Zoom's not letting me do that. So I'm like, no, not at all. It says it's not even offered. So
you know what? I think you're beautiful. You're fine. Let's get to it. Jump right in.
Okay, girl, that's the way life is, isn't it?
Amen, sister. All right. So who are you? What do you do? And what makes you you?
Well, I am Mary Elizabeth Jackson. I am a wife. I'm a mother of 3. Well, I call them inspirations because they're miracles, all 3 of my kids. I am a children's author. I write empowering books for kids. I like to use the power of word to teach children new language, empowering language, get them started early to know that how they come into life is okay. Learn how to accept themselves and have those tools with them as they grow. I am also an advocate for special needs and disabilities, and I am a live streamer. So I co-founded and co-host 2 different shows on Facebook. Let's see, we go live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then we're on Amazon Live, which is really cool. We're having a lot of fun with it. But it's Writers Corner Live TV, and that is obviously what the title says. It's all about authors and publishing, getting published. And we've interviewed authors from all over the world, and we're going on our 3rd year. So we're super excited about it. And I also have a show called Special Needs TV. So that's all about the world of special needs and disabilities and, you know, interviews and information and resources for families with kids that have challenges. So, you know, that's a little bit about me. I also book collaborate and ghostwrite as well. And I am just really, you know, trying to merge all these worlds together and make them work for each other and, you know, empower children, empower young kids, adults. I've got an adult book coming out hopefully next year. So, and my little guy is here because this is live. So this is real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is your little guy can pop into the window and say hi if he wants to.
Do you want to stand up and say hi real quick?
I don't. I get very aggravated when it's so scripted that life does get neglected. Hi, you. How are you?
Say hi, Miss Rusty.
How are you, buddy?
Tell
yeah. What state are you in?
Just don't help.
No. Where do we live? What's the state?
Tennessee.
We live in Tennessee. Yeah.
Oh, Tennessee's so beautiful. I have a lot of family in Tennessee, I'm told.
Where?
I'm in Florida.
Where are you in Florida?
I'm almost in Fort Myers. I'm on that side.
Oh, love Fort Myers. We used to have a condo down in Bonita Springs when I was in high school. And I'm from Orlando. So I love that side of the state. It's so beautiful down there.
Yeah, I grew up on the East Coast. And when I moved back down, I didn't want to be in that. It's just busy and toxic and loud. And So it's like, well, let me try the Gulf Coast because I had never lived on this side before, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
A lot of weird politics that I'm not really privy to or interested in, so it makes it a little lonely.
Well, you know what? At least you're in a beautiful place.
Yes.
And I've got family in Bradenton, Sarasota area. And yes, I was born and raised in Florida and ended up here. My husband got a job up here, helped open up the Wild Horse on 2nd Avenue in Nashville. So we live about 20 minutes from Nashville, which is nice.
That's nice.
Yes, because the city is crazy, crazy busy. We were just there. My husband and I went. It was through his work for an opening of something, and Diamond Rio was playing. And I took this picture of downtown. We were on a rooftop. So I took this picture of downtown at sunset, and oh my word, it was so beautiful. All the neon lights on 2nd Avenue. I mean, on Broadway, and every rooftop was just crowded, which is not the best thing for right now, but it totally looked like spring break down there. But the colors and the sun setting in the clouds, it was really beautiful for downtown.
Tennessee is an absolutely beautiful state. I remember when my grandfather was alive and I was little, we went to live up there for a little while, and we would go berry picking up in the mountains. And I had a ton of arrowheads because they're everywhere.
They are everywhere. Yes, you can find those. I mean, we have some as well, but any store that you go into that's a bead store or gem store, they have so many of them. Yes.
Yeah. No, we would find these literally hiking around for blackberries and blueberries and raspberries, just in the wild, which was kind of cool being a city girl going up there and, doing something that definitely was not city.
Right. And just connecting with nature, which is so important for all of us. And it's so important for children because it's kind of, I know this may sound weird, but it's just the same vibration that we are, the energy in nature and all that it's just, so that's why when you go out, you usually go, oh, okay, I feel better now. I can relax. I can just relax and sit here and chill out and look at the beautiful this or the beautiful that, or whatever it is, so, we have places to hike around here, and I try to get out with my kids as often as I can because life is overwhelming for children these days. And I'm really spread out with my children. My little guy that you just met, Carson, was the inspiration for the books. And he came very, very late in my life. I thought it was is it legal to have kids at 45, right? This is my question to the doctor. The doctor's like, what? I'm like, just kidding. I'm trying to get through this. I'm trying to stay sane. Okay. But, so I have one going to be 21 and then 17 and then 8. And so life is very, very spread out. And through the pandemic, the emotional, mental well-being of these, kids from probably who could understand in an elementary on up into college has been quite dramatic, So I think that was more stressful than the pandemic, to be honest with you. And being on lockdown, just keeping everybody mentally stable and okay was quite challenging. So
for me personally, my daughter just turned 16, and for us, we loved every minute of it because we got to bond more. We were able to talk more. We had less distractions, less chaos. And I was really full on board, focused on this show and everything else that I do in this part of my life. And I just felt that it was freeing. I really did. It
was kind of interesting, Rusty. It's like there was this relief of a lot of things, like those everyday, I love not driving in the car. I love not spending money. I love not being in here, there, and all that. I love that. And I love I guess it's the uniqueness that we got to experience of really coming back together. And getting to know each other a little bit more in what are our values, where is our control in this life, what do we have control over, what can we focus on that's for the betterment of ourselves and the world that we have around us, and let's just kind of put this sort of like a bubble around us and just leave the crazy outside. Just leave the crazy out there, and let's just, what can we do in here that's snuggle? And so I think that was that was amazing. And then for my girls, I think it was the unknown. They've never experienced anything like this, and neither have we. So it was like, okay, what's tomorrow going to bring? Like, what are we going to see on the news tomorrow? So we quit watching the news a long time ago. We just turned it off.
Yeah, it's 16 years for me. I don't.
Oh, good for you.
I think the TV is a heroin addiction. I think it rewires your brain in a way that you're always in fight or flight, and you're always edgy and impulsive. And I don't think that's a healthy way of existing on this planet. I don't think that's what we were intended to do.
No, we didn't. Electronics didn't come on the planet with us. So, our brains are not.
No,
really...
Star Trek would say otherwise, my friend. Come on now.
I know. I'm a huge Trekkie fan and love Star Wars and all those. So, yeah. So the futuristic part of that was all cool, but nobody thought about, hey, what's it going to do to our bodies and our brain?
Right.
None of that's talked about in the show. It's just like, ooh, those laser beams and jet speed and black holes and transferring from one universe to another, and
Right. Oh my God, it's so true. So let's talk a little bit about your book. So you talk about inspiring children, or you help children use inspiring words. I'm assuming it's not just like biblical inspiration, but it's like internal self-confidence kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So the premise behind, in the word foolicious, it came from my son when I looked at him. And for me, what it means is, first of all, I love Dr. Seuss, and kids love silly words. And so it's a silly thing. So anyone who takes it seriously has got to reconsider how they're thinking about it, because it's supposed to be funny. Like, foolicious is about the embodiment of childhood and the innocence and the wonder and the uniqueness of kids at those ages. And it's important for us to help our kids understand that no matter how they come into this world, no matter what they look like on the outside, they are still okay. And if we don't give them that understanding from childhood, I mean, they walk around with that feeling inside themselves. That's a belief system they are going to pick up from us, from being a child, that they're broken, something's wrong with them. And, children coming in, because of being a special needs advocate, and I have 2 kids on the spectrum, the way they look at life is so brilliant and so beautiful, and their capacity for love and compassion is a lesson for the rest of us. And that's how I think it's something that we need to learn from, and we need to honor, because they don't fit inside a box, and really none of us should fit inside a box, because we're all unique, and each and every one of us is unique. We all have our quirks. Everybody does. I've never met anyone who didn't have some kind of this or some kind of that or whatever. And it just makes you who you are. It kind of puts that whole puzzle piece together of who you are. But what we have to do is learn to accept those things about ourselves. And we have to teach our children to learn to accept themselves about it. So the first book in the series is for little bitties, and it's all about how much mommy loves me. And, my cheeks are chubby because they're full of mommy's kisses. It's very sweet. And there's 10 original songs that were written for it. And the second one is more about on the move as a toddler. And this third one, I'm so excited about. It's about the silly quirkiness of like the ages 4 to 7, 4 to 8, big ears, you got funky eyebrows, your hair is completely out of control. Your toes don't match. You got space in your teeth because your teeth are falling out, And so it's about the funniness and silliness and sometimes awkwardness of all that, and how to be able to accept that and know I'm okay if I'm doing it my own way. And my own way is okay. Each book has I am statements in them. And I think it's really important to teach children that early. And in the back of the book, I talk about how parents can learn to do that for themselves. I have used affirmations in my life. I've taught my children how to use them. And I think it's so important. I mean, if you're having a bad day, go look in the mirror, or don't look in the mirror. It doesn't matter. Just start saying whatever comes to your mind. I am strong. I am full of laughter. I am lovable. I am funny. I am, and then you can go on from there. I mean, there's so many words that you can put behind that, and it will change the energy and how you feel internally. And nobody can take that from you. That's something nobody can take from you. And language is free, and it's always with us.
Well, and I think it's really important to raise your children with some form of self-confidence, especially in this world that we live in. When you and I were kids, we didn't have half the crap that is going on. Like, these kids have social media issues and bullies that are, we had bullies, but it just was different. Like, we were all talk, and every now and then we got into fist fights, but not like it is now. It's just, it's very toxic with what our kids are going through. And, you know, I think they worry about things they really shouldn't have to worry about. And yet we as adults inadvertently make that worry bigger because we're worried about it too, and openly about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. And, you know, the other thing, like, I don't know when you were born. I was born in 67. I'm proud of it. I was an 80s kid. Love the music, right? And so we had those magazines, right? That was what was something that we ended up, a lot of people thought that's how we're supposed to look. That's how we're supposed to be. And what we saw on television. But now these kids, I feel like we're raising an entire society of narcissistic people, because everything, the videos are about, you know, watch me brush my hair, watch me brush my teeth, watch me put on deodorant. Hey, I took a sip of a Coke or a Sprite, you know, and it's just so, it's so unrealistic. And it's just, I don't really know. We have to do some repair work, I think, with our kids. You know what I mean?
Well, and I was 76, so not too far behind you. And it was,
Okay.
I remember as a little girl, it was the McCall magazine, where that's how women would show their fashion sense and their gloves and, you know.
Yes.
And I'm a tree loving hippie. I'm barefoot playing in the mud, not giving a damn about anything regarding gloves or anything fancy like that. But nowadays, the kids, I think we as adults have inadvertently, maybe accidentally, giving a bit of a doubt, put our priorities in a different place. So we have our children, but we have our career, and our career is far more important because we have to get there. We have to get to that next level. And so we put the kids aside. And I don't think it's malicious for most of us. I just think it's the way we've designed society, because it's not just our children that are more narcissistic. I think we as adults are emulating that kind of self-absorbed, machine, shiny marketing consumer crap. And that's why our kids, they're not getting fulfilled on a spiritual, emotional, and mental level from us, because we're trying to be something we're not. I guess that's just as basic as it gets. I can't hear you, honey. I see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So that whole thing where everybody wants to be accepted and feel important and feel heard, it just never goes away. You know, it just kind of, it goes with us through our life. It goes, we become adults and we just become, it becomes bigger. And sometimes we don't even know it. We are in denial. Oh, I'm fine. But there, you know, a lot of things that we do from adults, as adults, stems from our childhood and those belief systems that we get, and those wounds and those scars, and they drive us and motivate us in our lives to do more, to be better, to climb a bigger mountain than the next guy. And then you know, we see all this stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and TikTok and Snap and YouTube, and these people are they're just putting the bar higher and higher and higher for the rest of us who think, okay, so wow, I'm just like doing nothing compared to Joe Schmo. And really, we have to check in with ourselves. First of all, do you want to be doing what Joe Schmo is doing? Is that really important to you? Is that going to make you feel like who you know, who you think that you're supposed to be in this life? And we really have to figure out, who is it we really want to be in this life? What do we want to stand for? What is important to us? And is it important to be out there in front of people Or is it important to be the person behind the scenes, maybe doing stuff that it's like a puzzle again, all those pieces fit together. We just got done doing theater production. My girls were in production over the weekend and spent the last 3 weeks. And every single person is important in that, behind camera and in front on the stage. And it doesn't matter who you are and where you're at. Even if you're just the little fish in the back doing this, you know, you're still very, very important to the whole puzzle of all of it. So I agree with you. I think as parents, we kind of have to keep monitoring ourselves. Like, what are we allowing ourselves to get caught up in? You know, children younger and younger think they're supposed to have phones. Well, you know what? When I was your age, I went to the office to use the phone to call my mom, you know, at school. And our phone was connected to the wall. Like, my kids still don't understand. It was connected to the wall with a very long cord. So you could go in the other room or wherever you needed to go with the phone, but it stayed on the wall where it should be. Even today, it would be a good idea for it to be back on the wall, wouldn't it?
Well, and if you were rich, if you were part of the rich club, you'd have two long cords, the one that plugged into the wall and the one that was actually on the handset. Remember the curly one versus the straight one? You know, and
Yes.
then you could
Yeah,
really
we had a
hide.
long curly one.
Right. Yeah, then
I know. Yeah. So you know, these are good conversations for as adults for us to have, because we really have to hold ourselves accountable, and we need to hold each other accountable for what are we doing in this world? How are we affecting it? How are we changing it? You know, I want my children to grow up and be able to affect this world and not take away from it. And I think that's super important. And we have a whole generation of kids who, and you know this as well as I do, who somehow feel self-entitled and somehow are forgetting the manners aren't there, and the eye contact and the handshaking, and, you know, writing thank you letters or thank you notes, making a phone call and saying, hey, you know, I really appreciate what you did, or, you know, thank you for coming to my party, or whatever you need to do. All of those really are very important, and they're important when you go out into the real world and get a job to work. You know, even if you have a challenge and a disability, their manners are still very important.
Well, but manners don't grow from nothing. I mean, again, back to parents paying attention to their own behaviors. I think that's where it really comes from. You know, you and I were able to go and play outside and skin our knees and ride our bikes and catch snakes and whatever, you know, you did as a kid and what I did as a kid. It was very organic and natural.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, our generation has become kind of paranoid. And I think it has a lot to do with TV, personally. We are afraid of our neighbor, our preacher, our pastor, our, you know, teachers, our coaches. We're afraid of everybody.
White van, the white van.
Well, no, the white van is real, girl. I'm telling you.
No, I know it is, but we're still afraid of it.
Especially the one with the tiger on the side.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah, it's just, you know, where I grew up outside, actually, I grew up outside of Orlando. I was born there. We moved out, and we were out by Disney World in tons of orange groves, and lots of families had horses. And I mean, we were out on the bike, we were out on the horses, we were in the orange groves, we were climbing trees, we were gone all day. You know, don't come in the house, be outside.
Right.
Pretty much the typical raising of kids back then. You know, no kid should be in the house except for eat, go to the bathroom, right? Get something to drink. Otherwise, you need to be outside playing, use your imagination. And it's very sad that we don't do that with our children these days. And a lot of us live in places that we don't feel like we can. I mean, I didn't do it with my kids as much as I would like to. And I am very sad they did not get that freedom that I had to feel like the world was a safe place. Even if I fell out of the tree, I fell off a horse, you know, got something broken, we still got back up on the horse or in the tree, and we still kept going, you know, even after you were over your wound. But, you know, these days we're terrified to let our kids go drive, you know, because we're so afraid of all the other drivers out there. I mean, you know, in my family's case, we had something happen with my middle daughter. And when things like this happen, it changes who you are as a parent. When you are raising a child on the spectrum or with disabilities or who's nonverbal, it changes you as a parent. So the whole playing field changes. And it's, you know, it's hard for a parent to this child that they're taking care of so much, let them out into the world for someone else to do it, because the possibilities of someone either not being trained correctly, or a child being hurt or not heard or being able to be understood, you know, the bar is a little different there for that. And it makes it hard to just be a normal, regular parent. Your game is totally changed. And who writes the books for these people?
You do.
I'm working on it, but you know.
What did they win? A refrigerator?
Yeah, right. Refrigerator full of food, right?
That's right.
It's when a pandemic again.
Blueberries and strawberries. That's all I want.
Yeah, right. So it's a very well, we're just kind of on a seesaw right now through life, aren't we? We're trying to balance, and we're trying to be good parents, and we're trying to be responsible parents with integrity as well, and help our kids be able to grow and know they can do it without keeping them in a padded box somewhere so they don't get injured or something like that. You know, I used to joke that we should have a padded room for our kids, but it was so that they could, like, my little guy is testosterone for 10 guys, right? I mean, he's a boy, he's 8. So everything's like WWF, you know, the furniture, you know, the beanbag, the trampoline, you know, mom, dad, you know, sisters. And so that's what I thought a room like that would be good for. Just throw yourself against the wall, run in there. You can do it and do it safely. You know?
Like a ninja room.
Total ninja room that's low to the ground, because this one's afraid of heights. So it'd have to be a low ninja room.
But I think characteristically, you know, when you acknowledge as a parent what your responsibility and obligation is to parenting your child, disabled or not, that puts you in a better position than a lot of parents who don't acknowledge that they even have children.
Right. Absolutely. It does. You know, you have to be so much more hands-on, because a lot of times your child is not very independent. They may never be dependent. I have friends whose children will be with them forever unless they go into respite care or something. And so they really, truly are hands-on. I was talking to an author friend the other day. He has a 20-something-year-old son who he has to be full-time care. So in situations like that, those parents don't ever really get to know what that's like to you know, have that freedom for them and their child. And I have a lot of compassion for that. That's really, really tough for them to go through. But we do have to, we have to take, I don't know, we need to be more tuned in. I guess that's a good word for it, right?
But I also think we need to be more tuned in to our self-care as well, don't you? Because that emulates with your child. Your child sees what you're doing to yourself.
Yes, and if you're complete in caregiving sacrifice mode, well, you're not good for anybody. And I think for those of us who are moms who end up having to do more than what you anticipated you might have to do, and you get into that mode, it's really hard for us to stop and go, wow, okay, so like today for me is one of those days where I've got to turn some things off, and I have to be a little bit more, I have to be more low key, because I've got to recharge myself, because I'm overdone for in the past 3 weeks. And it's like standing up for yourself, you know, taking care of yourself, taking that shower. I mean, it could be as small as taking a bath. Just go take a bath, love yourself. Because the more we can love ourselves, like you said, it teaches our children to do that. And it's not in a selfish way, so that we're taking away from anything else or anyone else, or saying, oh, I'm not going to help you because I got to take care of me. Sometimes we do have to do that, but we have to also teach our children. Sometimes self-care means saying no, and it doesn't mean that you're mean. It just means that you cannot do it at that time, or don't need to do it, or it's not your responsibility to do. And that's hard too, you know?
I love it. So what is your book called?
I have it right here.
Let me see.
It's called Poolicious, Oh, the Wonder of Me.
Aw, I love it.
And that's my little guy that was taken to the Butterfly Sanctuary in Chattanooga at the aquarium. So, and it's it's got large font, which I think is fantastic. It's got large pictures. I love the illustrator. I love her, love her, love her. And so it's like a great first reader too for little ones who want to learn to read and they want to read to their siblings. It's really great. And then there's the information on the back to help parents to go, okay, so this is how I get started with I am with my child, or you are. We've got big magnets on our fridge that say I am and you are, and then they have all these fun, amaze balls and awesome sauce. And, we've got these magnets on our fridge and we use them a lot, for, I just tell the girls, okay, go look at the fridge. There's a message for you, and even just those little things are really helpful to a child. But you can find the books on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and you can go to my website, www.maryejackson.com. And I've got some stuff there, information for parents who are, looking for advocacy information. Also, there's some links to the 2 shows I do with interviews if anybody wants to go watch an interview or find a new book or author to fall in love with. And so, I'm on Facebook, maryejackson.author, and LinkedIn at Mary E. Jackson. It's so hard. We have all these handles, don't we, these days?
Everything will be linked below, I promise.
But that's fine. And sometimes I don't always know if they're going to be, and sometimes, we get asked, and I know you get asked, okay, where can people find you, so.
You're doing perfect. That's exactly what I was going to ask you anyway, because a lot of people listen to the show and they don't watch the show and they drive and, there you go. Those are humans.
There you go. There you go. And, I just really, we have a middle grade reader coming out in September. I'm so excited about it. So it's ages 8 to 12. And it's a really cool story about kids who are bullying, and then they want to seek forgiveness. They want to be forgiven, and they want to learn how to forgive themselves and teach their friends how to be better kids. So better classmates is a better word for it. So I'm excited about that coming out. It's been a long process. And my middle daughter illustrated the cover and did the illustrations inside. So she's
nice.
On our team. Yeah, she's on our team now. So it's very exciting.
That's awesome. Miss Mary, thank you so much for everything that you do. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm grateful for little man. He's so handsome. Good job for your 45-year surprise. It's not menopause, honey. It's better.
Oh, girl. I am not even in menopause yet, and I'm 53. So I'm like, I do not want any more children. I am done.
Shut it down.
I'm done. That barn is closed, people. So.
Mary, I hope to see you again soon. Please keep me posted as to how things go. I have another series coming up in September. So if you want to just put me in your calendar, that would be great. I'd love to talk to you again.
Oh, I would love it. Rusty, it was so nice to meet you. I mean, sincerely, it was so nice to meet you. We need to hang out and have coffee or something over the...
Yeah. Girl, you got my info. Let's do that. I love that stuff. Love it. Right. Because
Let's do it.
Yeah. And I have a lot to share with you anyway. So let's actually genuinely make that into a plan, because I have a couple of other authors that you might be interested in.
Oh, I would love it. Love connecting, like-mindedness. There's more power in people. Absolutely. So yeah, I will email you and let's do it. Thank you so much.
Bye, Miss Mary.
Bye.
You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty, and I get to do this. This is like the coolest thing on the whole entire planet. I get to chit chat with amazing people from all over the world, talking about what makes their hearts sing, what pulls their heartstrings, what makes them cry, what makes them tick, why do they get out of bed? It's really actually quite interesting, because everybody is a little different, but ultimately everybody just wants to be loved and have a hug and feel good about themselves and how they present themselves in the world. So go and check out her books. Her links are somewhere located in this square device. And know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful. And as I say every show, it is so, so important to go and do something kind for somebody else. Buy a cup of coffee, go to the library and pay off somebody's library fees. There's got to be a third grader somewhere who forgot where he put his book. I was that third grader. Go and through your closet and donate all the stuff that you A, don't wear, B, don't care, and C, it's too tight. We all have those moments we think we're going to lose weight, but over 45, you may not ever lose that weight. Again, that's me. Know that you're loved. Until next time.